I'm over here on page 52 of the electronic textbook from My Accounting Lab, and I'm going to give you an example of how you can review for the test. So I picked one of these problems. This is problem 1-46A. It is not one of your homework problems, but you can find it at the back of chapter 1. So you see how I've drilled down chapter 1 and I went to the assess your progress section. And in that section, I had to flip through a few pages, but on page 52, I found problem 1-46A. Now you could choose to either do it manually, so you could do it paper and pencil to practice, or if you notice, there's a little hyperlink here with this blue underline, and when you hover over it, it turns red and the hand comes up. So if you were to click on that, it would take you to a input format that's similar to the homework input formats. So here, my textbook is bringing this up for me in My Accounting Lab, and I will be able to, once it loads, complete my problem in here. Okay, so what they're asking me to do is to analyze a set of transactions. So we're given a list of transactions here, and it's similar to one of your homework problems. And what we do is we are going to apply those transactions to the accounting equation. So the first one says sold personal investment in eBay stock, which she had owned for several years, receiving 27,000 cash. Okay, that's a personal transaction, and it would not, let's see. Okay, it's separate from the business. So since it's a personal transaction, it would not be part of this entry. Let's see now. You may need to add zeros for everything, or maybe not. I'm going to test that. Okay, so we do not have to put zeros in if no transaction occurred. Okay, so notice I hit enter for March 1st. No transaction because it's a personal transaction. It's not a business transaction. Okay, we'll say okay. Now, there was a deposit. So 27,000 cash was deposited from the sale of eBay stock into her personal account. Okay, so that's not a transaction of the business either. See, it's her personal bank account. It's not the company's bank account. So really, I believe we should be putting zeros in for balance, but we'll try again. Let's see. I'm just going to do the balances at zero because there's nothing that happened in the transaction. And we'll see how we fare. Okay, okay, nice work. Okay, so no transaction. Okay, now on the third, deposited 70,000 cash in a new business bank account titled Anastasia Peterson, attorney. The business issued common stock to Peterson. So remember, when the business receives cash, you're going to have 70,000 increase in cash. And when it issues common stock, which is on the other side of the equation, you're going to have a $70,000 increase in common stock. Okay, and then you want to do a subtotal. So 0 plus 70,000 is 70,000. And of course, all these other balances are 0 until you get to common stock, which is 70,000. Right, and then you hit check answer, and you get a good job, and you continue on. On the fifth, paid 6,000 cash for ink cartridges for the printer. Well, ink cartridges are office supplies. So if we have $600 more worth of office supplies, then we're going to increase office supplies by 600. But that word paid in there means that we used cash. So cash actually decreased by 600. Okay, so it all happened on the left side of the accounting equation, and it's offsetting, right? Office supplies, which are an asset increase, and cash, which is an asset decrease by the same amount. So we have a wash. We don't have to do anything to the other side of the equation. So what are we left with? 69,400. And we've got 0, we've got 600, 0 for computer, 0 for accounts payable. Still have 70,000. Okay. 0, 0, 0, 0. Now what you want to do before you hit enter is check, okay? Is the left side of the equation in total equal to the right? And let's see, 69,400 plus 600 is equal to 70,000, and you have 70,000 on the right side of the equation. So we'll hit check answer. We get another good job. Okay. On the 7th, purchase computer for the law office, agreeing to pay the account 7,000 within 3 months. So we did not pay for the computer up front. We agreed to pay for it within 3 months. So we have an obligation. We owe the vendor, the computer vendor, $7,000. So that idea that we owe means that we have a payable, and in this case we have an accounts payable. So we got 7,000 more in accounts payable on the right side of the equation, and we now have a computer. So now our company owns an asset called computer. They've abbreviated COMP. So we have an increase to the asset. Well, if you just look at that isolated transaction, that has an equal effect on both the left and right side of the equation. So we kind of know we're in balance. We'll bring down our balances because we always rebalance after every transaction in this type of problem. Okay, so I'm just dropping the balances down. Now I have a $7,000 computer balance and a $7,000 accounts payable balance. Okay. Nothing changed with my common stock, 70,000, and then everything else is 0. On the 9th, company received 2,900 cash from customers for services rendered. Well, when a company provides services or goods, then they've earned the revenue. Okay, so that's service revenue, and service revenue has increased by 2,900. Okay, now the word here, received, that means that the company actually received the money. That means cash increased on the asset side of the equation over here, 2,900. So notice we're always having a balancing effect. You have either there's offsetting effects on one side of the equation, or there's an equal effect on both sides of the equation. Okay, so if you were to add, oh, by the way, you have a little calculator over here too, if you haven't found it, and you can pull that up if you don't want to do mental math. So 69,400 plus 2,900 gives me 72,300. That's my new cash balance. Now, I'll show you a little trick. If you put your cursor where you want that number to be, so I want it to be in the balance box here. See, my cursor is blinking. And I have that number in my calculator. All I have to do is hit this little backwards L arrow, and it drops that 72,300 into the field that I had my cursor in. Okay. All right. And then continue on, bring your balances down. All right. Nothing happened to these other accounts here. Check answer. Okay. Let's see now. On the 15th, received the bill from the lawyer for magazine subscription. So 3,400. Okay, we got the bill, but it doesn't say we paid it. So we know that we're going to owe. I'm going to put that $340, I'm sorry, into accounts payable. Okay, so we owe 3,400, and I might as well take that balance already, $7,340. Okay. Now, when you get a bill, that usually indicates you have an expense. So over here, our expenses are increasing, and our expenses actually, when the expenses increase, they actually decrease the right side of the equation. So I'm going to plug in 34 over here. Okay, and I'm going to have a negative, 340. Okay. So when you take the total over here, be sure to subtract. You see, it's accounts payable plus common stock minus dividends plus revenue minus utilities minus expense. So when you're checking to get your right side total, that expense is a subtraction. Okay. So that all happened on one side of the equation. We can carry our balances down. Okay. Make sure we carry our balances down for the other side. And then we can go ahead and hit check. We've got a nice work on that one. Okay. Now on the 23rd, finished court hearings on behalf of a client and submitted a bill for legal services, $13,500 on account. Okay, so this means that we're billing the customer. We did not receive the cash, but we have earned revenue. Remember, at the point that we provide the service, the company has earned revenue. So I'm going to increase my revenue by $13,500. Okay. And then you might as well go ahead and tally that up. So you're going to have 16,400 total. 29 plus 13,500. Okay. Now, like I said, we're not in balance yet, but we have to reflect something on this side, and we have a accounts receivable. That means that we have a customer that still owes us $13,500. It is an asset because it is a claim to an economic resource. So it's something we own. It's a claim that we own. Okay, so we're going to put that in the accounts receivable column. And then we'll go ahead and tally everything up. Okay, and you should be adding both sides along the way. I know I passed on that a couple times, but right, this is the equation line. Everything that's on this side should equal everything on this side. And I'll go ahead and drop my balances down. Okay, and I'll hit check answer. And we got a good job on that one. Okay. So we just continue on. On the 28th, paid bill from the lawyer. Well, it's not giving you a number, but if you look back, you know that you received the bill from the lawyer for $340 and you booked it into accounts payable. So when you got that word paid, that means that cash is decreasing. I'm going to put a negative $340. That's my cash going down. And at the same time, by paying the bill off, the bill is decreasing. So the bill is sitting in accounts payable, an account that shows what the company owes. So I'm going to decrease that obligation by $340. Okay. So if you just take a quick look here, you're going to have, what are you going to have? 71. Why don't you, if you get a brain pause there, go ahead and use your calculator. Right, 71,960, and then remember you can drop it in the little arrow. Okay. You could have that handy. Nothing happened to accounts receivable. Get that out of the way. Okay. Nothing happened to accounts receivable. Nothing happened to office supplies. Okay, but accounts payable went down by 340. Nothing happened to common stock. Nothing happened to dividends. Service revenue, nothing, and no changes the other accounts. Okay. On the 30th, a utilities bill was paid for $1,300. That's an expense. It's called utilities expense, and that increased by, when that's paid, that increased by $1,300. But notice it does have a decreasing effect on the right side of the equation. Okay. Well, if you paid something out, that means your cash went down. So cash went down by $1,300. Okay, and then you would balance out again. So you would do the subtractions, and you would have, what do you got here? 70,660. My math is right. Okay, and then this didn't change. This didn't change. No changes here. No changes here. Yeah. And you do have that utility expense that's now included in your total. Okay, now it says receive $2,900 cash from clients billed on March 23rd. So if you look back here on March 23rd, when you billed the clients, we billed them $13,500. Well, $2,900 has been received as cash. So that's an increase to cash, $2,900. But at the same time, it's a decrease to what the company has due to it. So I'll make a negative here under accounts receivable. Okay, that's an offset. So you don't have to do anything on the other side of the equation. Okay, so now if you took 70,000 and subtracted 2,900, your new cash balance is 67,100. Okay. And then what happens to accounts receivable? Well, 13,500 minus 2,900. Your new accounts receivable balance is 10,600. And you move along. Just keep moving along. Right? If there's no change, then you can pull the balance down from the last transaction. Oops, be careful with your inputs. Oh, okay, so now when you have an error, one or more of the balances are incorrect. Carefully check your calculations and remember to enter 0 for any 0 balances. Please try again. Okay, that means we might have moved a little too fast. Okay. It does say 2,900 was received. So if you take, see, there's my mistake. I subtracted when I should have added, right? You see that? That wasn't on purpose. That's an honest mistake. So let's do it again. 70,660 plus 2,900. Okay, I should really have 73,560 in here. So read your error messages. That'll help you understand what you did wrong, so you're prepared for the test. Well done. 331, received 2,900 cash from clients billed on March 23rd. Okay, we just did that one. I'm sorry. Okay. The last one, cash dividends of 3,500 were paid. The key word here is paid. That means that we're going to subtract 3,500 from cash. Okay, so that should leave us with 70,060. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to increase our dividend, which has a decreasing, see that negative effect. So as we increase the dividend by 3,500, we have a actually decreasing effect on the total right side of the equation. Okay, and then we can drop our balances back down. Okay, remember to rebalance every time you do the. Okay. and we'll hit check. It looks like we did well. Okay, so this should get you started. The next step in this thing is building your financial statements, which everyone should have memorized. Remember, it's income statement first, then retained earnings statement, then balance sheet. Okay, please contact me if you have more questions. And this should show you how to get to problems to prepare yourself for the upcoming exam. Thank you.